talking about the 2024 Yamaha Tenere 700. Just picked up this bike and I wanted to show you a few of the new things for 2024. They've made a few very small but very substantial upgrades to this model and I'm pretty excited about it. So I'm going to give you a little walkthrough of the bike, show you the new things, and give you a little bit of info about how I feel about the bike so far. I've got about 150 miles on it. Trying to break it in real easy before I take it off-road. I've also ordered some protection for it. Really don't want to lay this thing down until I get some crash bars and skid plate. The oil filter is in a very fragile location, I would say. It looks like a place where you could have some rocks come up, and the factory skid plate seems pretty thin. So before I take this thing out for a proper trail ride, I'm going to be putting a skid plate from T-Rex Racing as well as crash bars from T-Rex Racing on it. Then I'll feel a little more confident going off-road. So for now, let's take a look at the bike and I'll show you a couple of the features. First of all, I really love this colorway. I think this like gray and black combo is really nice. I love that they didn't slap a ton of Yamaha logos all over it. It's got a very clean aesthetic. Coming from the KLR, I just feel like there's so much I notice about this bike that seems a little bit nicer. Obviously that's not a surprise, but anyway, here we go. So the first big thing that they upgraded on this year's model is going to be this display. So you've got all your information here on this digital display. Everything is controlled with this little roller wheel. So as I roll the wheel, we can scroll through the different data screens. We've got average fuel economy, odometer, coolant temperature, air temperature, and you got your different trips. You can also go into your settings menu by holding down this scrolling wheel. Once you're in the settings menu, you have options for your ABS modes. ABS, you have the ability to turn off just the front or rear as well. So that's kind of a nice feature. Ideally, you'd maybe leave ABS on in the front and turn the rear off for most off-road situations. I think that would probably be best. I'll get back to you on that. Long press on the wheel gets you out of the menu. If we go back to the menu here, we can see there's another theme. So right now we're in the Explorer theme. If we switch over to the Street theme, get a different display. So it kind of is showing you a different style of tack, which is more kind of the traditional style of tack. And then you've also got your fuel temperature on the sides there. Those are kind of a standard, and then you can still scroll through with the wheel and change the two data screens below, air temperature, trip. So I think that's really handy. In the corner here, it's not showing it now, I'm not connected to the app, but it will show you your phone's battery level as well as whether or not your phone is connected via the app. So that's kind of a nice feature. When you get a text message or a missed call, you'll get a little indicator up in this corner showing you that you have a missed call or a missed text, and you can then view that from the Yamaha Motor app or on your phone like normal. Another significant upgrade is going to be these LED turn signals. I really am a fan of these. They look really nice. There's a lot of movement in the gasket, so it seems like you might be able to crash a couple times without breaking those. I really like how when you're driving or riding rather, this indicator stays lit, and when you turn the turn signal indicator on, this outer one is flashing. I think it's very handy to have a secondary light other than the headlight, because cars, tend to not see a single light as much. I really think that having that glowing amber is beneficial. We have the same turn signals here in the rear. Really nice looking signals. And I do appreciate that you can have them on hazards mode as well. If you're pulled over and you've got a mechanical or something, just makes you a little bit more visible. Anything to keep the cars away from us, I think, is good. Checking out your left-hand controls here. You've got horn, hazards, turn signals, high and low beams. You also have your blip for your high and low beams. Jury's still out on this kickstand. I do like this peg. It allows you to grab the kickstand with your foot when it's in the upward position and kick it down really easily. It does seem like it might hit my boots when I'm wearing motocross boots. Also, it does seem like maybe this spring here could be a little bit stronger. I noticed when I jumped a curb that the kickstand bounced a little bit, so I may be getting a stronger spring for the kickstand, but overall I like the design of it and it looks very strong. The bike doesn't seem to flex it when you sit on the bike. One thing that I definitely noticed is the height of the windscreen. It's definitely a lot shorter and in a much more vertical position than the windscreen on the KLR was. I understand why. I feel like when you're off-road, you need to be over the front of the bike and you don't want to be smacking your chin on this. So I have ordered some brackets that are going to attach where the normal windscreen mounting brackets attach, and it's going to give me the ability to lift the windscreen up about 3 inches. I'm planning to put some knobs on there so that I can kind of do an on-the-fly adjustment, lower it down for riding trail, and then lift it back up when I'm going to be on the highway. I'm 6'2", so this kind of having it a little bit higher, there's just a little buffeting that's coming over the windshield, and I can tell that if I duck down just a couple inches, that's enough to get it much better. So I think the combination of air being able to come in underneath the windshield and lifting the overall height of the windshield, that's going to make it super comfortable for highway riding. But other than the buffeting, the bike is incredibly smooth. It feels so well balanced. Obviously I'm coming from the KLR, so it's not going to be a surprise that there's an upgrade in performance and the way it feels, but I'm really impressed so far. It's not that much of a lighter bike, but it really just performs like it is. The width between your legs, it really feels narrow, and it feels like in an uneven terrain situation, you're still going to be able to firmly plant your foot on the ground. Granted that you're tall enough for this kind of seat height. Another thing that I really wish Yamaha would have just done, but I guess I understand, is handguards. These are purely aesthetic. I think, one or two drops and these are going to shatter, so these are going to get replaced with some bark busters. I really like having that strong aluminum body throughout the handguard, especially on the end here. I feel like it protects your bars, protects the mirror a little bit. Yeah, handguards is a must. And since we are comparing this bike a little bit to my KLR, another thing that I wish they could have done differently is the fuel cap. On the KLR, it was hinged, so it would flip forward and you were able to fuel it without having to set it somewhere. This, I just worry that I'm gonna set it somewhere and it's gonna fall off of the bike and get a scuff on it or something like that. So kind of wish that they had included some way to hold it so that you don't have to kind of keep an eye on it while you're fueling. It's a very small issue, but nonetheless something I noticed. So here is a little view of the Yamaha Motor Co. app. You can see I'm not connected to the bike right now. I'm filming this after the video earlier, but I'll just give you a quick view of the app. It shows you oil change. You can set intervals for when you want to change the oil and get reminders. You can check your battery level. It gives you your total mileage. And this screen is kind of cool. You can see for each ride what your fuel economy was, how far the ride was. This location is going to give you your last parked location when you were connected to the bike. Under the messages tab, that's going to show you notifications. Any missed calls or texts will show up there. And then you also have your riding log. That's going to show you where you rode. And if you click on each log, it'll show your speed at any point during the ride, as well as fuel economy, as well as atmospheric pressure, which is pretty interesting. All right, let's take this thing for a little ride. It just feels so smooth. I really like down here how narrow it feels between my legs. Like I can just step side to side. I'm kind of on uneven ground, and it just feels pretty good. The throttle, super responsive. It's just like, I hate to say it, but it's just like a night and day difference between the KLR and this. It just feels so right. I don't know. Anyway, here we go. Very little vibration transfers to the handlebars. I feel like the balance is so good. Just no hands swerving. It just really wants to stay upright and track straight. You may be able to hear some of that wind noise. It really just, you know, at my height, it comes over those windscreen and it's hitting me right in the face. So that windscreen grazing bracket will be a big difference. Definitely a smaller gas tank, but I think that's fine. The range is really not a whole lot shorter than the range was on the KLR. I was able to do about 200 miles if I was, you know, riding fairly chill. And my first gas tank on this bike, I got 145 miles. So it's a little bit less. It may improve on fuel economy as I break it in and everything seals up a little bit more. So I'll check back with you on that one, but so far this bike just feels really dialed, and I can't wait to put a few personal touches on it that I think are going to make it just right for me. No problem. I'm not even good at doing wheelies, but it pops up, no big deal. All right, well, I'm gonna be getting on the freeway here, so I appreciate you guys checking out the video. Please subscribe to my channel if this is the kind of stuff you're into. I'm gonna try and make a lot more videos, and yeah, thanks for being here.